a divide is beginning to happen between East and West on the understanding of the fall, because the West is reading from Latin. By the time you get into the 300s, and certainly by the year 400, very, very few lay people in the West can read Greek. Even educated people like Augustine, he has some familiarity, but he's not fluent in Greek, okay? So they're reading a translation that has an error in it that states that we all sin in Adam, okay, which is not what the Greek says. This is Romans 5, where it talks about the fall. Through one man, sin entered into the world, and death through sin, because in him all sinned. That's how the Latin reads. So we all sin somehow in Adam. So this view begins to develop in the West that we are guilty for Adam's sin. The guilt comes down to us, okay?
Interesting. Now, which Latin translation is being used that had that error then?
Well, it's called the Old Latin. It's something that would have been translated maybe in the 1st century, and there wasn't official. There's different versions, but they're all saying that, okay? Now, Jerome is beginning to work on the Latin Vulgate. It had not yet become the main translation, and he follows that too. It was so ingrained in the West, he follows that in his translation. Even though he's translating from the Greek, he is, aware of how Latin-speaking Christians are understanding the scriptures. Okay, so you have one view of the fall in the West, that we inherit sin from Adam, we inherit his guilt, getting close maybe to total depravity, not quite that far yet, but getting more. The fall is a big thing in the West. In the East, you have a bunch of views, and it's still that way today. Okay, so they recognize a fall, but some say we inherit Adam's mortality, not his sin, but his mortality. That would be a prominent view among the Eastern Orthodox today. Others said this and that. Pelagius, he would be, in the East, he would be considered Orthodox in his lifetime, but his view of the fall is more, we've been influenced and affected by Adam's sin because of his example. And the teaching that would have been handed down from a sinful parent to his children, and we're raised now in a world where sin is all around us, but we don't inherit necessarily a sin nature from Adam. Now, that was perfectly orthodox in the East, but by now, because of the language barrier, to Augustine, that's like, wow, what are you saying? That's heretical, okay?